Hi, this is Coach Rob, and as you can tell, this video is going to be a little bit differently. It's April 4th, 2023, and the topic of this video is what's an interesting story. I was doing a live stream last night when we were doing the golf, and we got talking about the Montreal Expos, and we got talking about, in the stream I said Jarry Stadium, but it was actually a Jarry Park Stadium, right? So I just want to read from Wikipedia just a little bit about the Jarry Park Stadium, because I promised the viewers I would do a video on that. So Jarry Park Stadium, Frenchist, is a former baseball stadium home to the Montreal Expos, now the Washington Nationals, and the Expos played there from 1969 through 1976, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The Expos were a Major League Baseball team, the first franchise in Canada. It served as a temporary home for 8 seasons until the Olympic Stadium was made available for the Expos in 1977. Because remember, it had the Olympics in Montreal in '76, the Summer Games. Its roof was completed a decade later. I didn't realize that. The ballpark was typically called simply and inaccurately, since the stadium was built within the larger park, Jarry Park, or Parc Jarry. The stadium hosted 2 National Football League preseason games in 1969. On August 25th of 1969, Detroit Lions versus the Boston Pirates, and September 11th, the New York Giants played the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting. Okay, history 1960 to present. Before Jarry Park, Montreal's main baseball stadium was Desmarais Stadium, a longtime home of the Montreal Royals. The diamond at Jarry Park had simply hosted youth baseball games in that park. However, in the early 1960s, the Montreal Royals were dropped by the LA Dodgers as their affiliate. So there's a bit of history there. Looking to improve the facilities for a stadium, Montreal, the 3,000-seat Jarry Park Stadium was built, formally opened in August of 1960 after the Dodgers ended their affiliation with the Montreal Royals. The new owners of the team had an option on the franchise with the provision of a suitable ballpark be put in place. Unable to negotiate an agreement to play, the aging Desmarais Park Stadium looked at the spacious Jarry Park after an alternate site. The Jarry Park Stadium was built for this reason. However, even after construction, the Royals franchise relocated to Syracuse, New York. That was the farm, or the AA team, I guess. When the original baseball field later was approved for the Expos, it was renovated to park and approaching Major League standards. Unroofed extensions were built from the original strands to the left and right of the corners, and the larger bleacher section was constructed to the left of the scoreboard. Let me go on to another page here. Built behind the right field fence. The work was the stadium's capacity to 28,000. The park was approved for the Expos to play. Features and dimensions. Beyond right field fence to scoreboard was a pre-existing swimming pool in the city. Long before the splash hits at Oakdale Park, the San Francisco and PCN Park in Pittsburgh, there was occasional splash hits. The first and most famous one was the 495 home run blast by Pirates outfielder Willie Stargell on July 16, 1969, leading the locals to call the pool Willie Pool. I like that. My last name's Willie. French. We don't. Another one was hit by Willie McCarvery of the Pirates during a 6-4 win over the Expos on May 5th, 1976. The idea of the swimming pool itself was later replicated in Chase Field, which opened in 1998. I didn't know that. The stadium also was intended to be only a temporary home for maximum 4 years. The clubhouses were located along the left field line behind the stands. Due to its unauthorized northwest orientation, home plate to second plate games in April and September frequently started in the setting sun, right with shining faces in the first baseman. Eventually, it was decided to delay games so the sun was finished setting. It was completely exposed to the elements, which particular part beginning and the end of the season. Montreal's long winters, which in particular at the beginning of their long winters, there was a huge gap between left field bleachers and the third base grandstands, resulting in second basemen and shortstops affecting the cold winds in late the season. The Expos frequently had to postpone late season games because there was no protective for the fans. Even following its temporary status, the field conditions were among the worst in the majors. Though center field distance was posted as 420, which is 128 meters, it was actually 417 feet to straight away to center, and it was 420 feet to the left and right corners of the park. The Montreal Expos, in their first expansion since 1962, Major League Baseball added 4 new franchises for the 1969 season, along with the San Diego Padres, Seattle, and Kansas City. Montreal was granted a Major League franchise. This marked the first time a team was located outside the United States. Montreal, Canada's largest city at the time, had strong tradition with minor league baseball, as the Montreal Royals were a long-time Dodgers farm team. Jackie Robinson had played for the Royals in 1946 before his promotion to the Dodgers in 1947. Breaking the color bar, iconic Roberto Clemente was another Montreal Royals player, as the Dodgers legends Duke Snider and Don Drysdale, Roy Campanella, and Tommy Lasorda at the time at the Major League expansion announcements were made by Montreal had just hosted the 1967 World's Fair called Expo 67, opened a new subway and eventually was an international bid to host the 1976 Summer Games. It's the only time the Summer Games have been in Canada. Owner Charles Brownfield was called the new franchise the Expos after the World's Fair, and he hired Gene Moch, the great Gene Moch, as their first general manager. That's interesting. When the Expos announced as an expansion franchise in 1967, one condition was placing a Major League Baseball field was the harsh winters and weathers in place for the 1972 season, finding a site for the Expos to play until that proved to be a challenge. Delmar Stadium was ruled out because its location made it impossible to expand beyond its 20,000-seat arena. It was eventually demolished in 1971. Other options were the Auto State from Expo in 1967, a World's Fair which had inspired the new club's nickname. However, the city balked at the cost of adding a dome to a 12,000-seat stadium. The Canadian Football League and Montreal Mentors demanded an enormous rent. The Expos were now in a bind. If they did not find another site quickly, the National Hockey League would ship the Montreal franchise and award it to Buffalo, which already had a suitable stadium in place. In August 1968, Montreal's mayor, Jean persuaded the National League president to give a visit to Jarry Park, and he liked the location. It was less than a mile from the highway and 200 yards from a commuter railroad. After settling in at Jarry Park, a strike delayed the original 1972 completion of a dome stadium. Due to further delays to overruns, the Expos wound up playing 8 seasons at Jarry Park after Montreal was selected in 1970 to host the 1976 Summer Olympics. The stadium projects of a baseball team, the Summer Olympics Games, were emerged when it became apparent that Olympic Stadium would not be ready in time for the Expos. Were forced to seek permission from NBL Baseball to stay at the Jarry Park for one more season. Further construction delays were eventually forced the Expos to repeat the process until Olympic Stadium was finally ready for baseball. for the 1977 season. For a time during the 76-77 season, looked like the Expos would have to open the 77 season at Jarry Park due to delays securing a lease at the Olympic Stadium. Indeed, the Expos began selling 1977 season tickets under the assumption it would have to play at Jarry Park. However, an agreement was finally reached in early 1977 allowing the Expos to open the 1977 season at the new Olympic Stadium. On that field, the Expos finished 52 wins, 110 losses in their first year, improved overall in the over years, winning 70 games in 1970 and 71, and 72 came close to the 500 mark. In 1973, their most popular player at Jarry Park was Rusty Staub, nicknamed La Grande Orange. Other notable players at Jarry Park were Murray Willis, Willie Davis, Ron Fairley, Carl Morton, Ken Singleton, and the great Ron Hunt. Future Hall of Famers Gary Carter debuted in 1974 at age 20, Warren Commentary and Steve Rogers, Larry Parrish, Ellis Valentine, and the great Andre Dawson, all young Expos who played in their debut seasons at Jarry Park. The Washington Nationals honored Jarry Park during the 50th anniversary of their celebration on July 6, 2019. Notable baseball moments at Jarry Park. 1969, attendance at Jarry Park being the smallest venue in Major League Baseball, due 1.2 million fans. And we're going to do a pause here. Okay, we're back here. Sorry, I just got a message from my friend Shannon. Okay, continue on notable moments at Jarry Park. It was on looks like it's April 14th, 1969. In the first Major League regular game in Canada, the Montreal Expos defeated the St. Louis Cardinals 8-7. On June 25th, 1969, the Expos pulled off the second triple play of the Major League season, and first in their history in the second inning against the St. Louis Cardinals. 1970, Jarry Park served as the home booth and major NBL team in the Class AAA team in 1970. The Buffalo Bison's Class AAA League played 13 home games at Jarry Park. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, September 29th, 1971, batting against Milt Pappas of the Chicago Cubs, Ron Hunt was hit by a pitch for the 50th time during the season. The Expos won 6 times on Hunt's game-winning single in the 9th inning. That's interesting. May 1972, May 9th, Willie Mays plays his final game as a member of the San Francisco Giants as a pinch hitter, gets a single in the 9th inning on a Giants loss 9-1 or 7-1 to the Expos on that day. One Major League no-hitter was pitched at Jarry Park on October 2nd, 1972 in the first game of a doubleheader. The New York Mets' Bill Stoneman pitched the first NBL no-hitter outside of the United States, as Montreal won 7-0 on that day. September 9th, 1973, a year and a half following the last appearance as the member of the San Francisco Giants, Willie Mays plays his final regular season game of his career as the Mets defeated the Expos 3-0, despite Montreal getting 13 hits in that game. September 15th, 1973, a crowd of 34,000, the largest ever at Jarry Park, watches the Expos defeat the Philadelphia Phillies 5-4. Bob Bailey singles home Rob Wood with a winning run in the 10th inning. September 28th, 1974, Gary Carter hits his first Major League home run off Phillies pitcher Steve Carlton. on a day when the Expos win 3-1. September 26th, 1976, a historic day. In the last baseball game played at Jarry Park, the Phillies won both games of a doubleheader, 4-1 and 2-1. The second game shortened to 7 innings due to rain over the Expos. To win their first game gave Phillies their first National Hockey League East title. That's interesting. Okay, the site today. The stadium used for various civic events over the years after the Expos. The Inter-Montreal soccer team of the Canadian Professional League, the CPSL, played at Jarry Park Stadium, gradually converted to tennis beginning in 1980. One corner of the court, located at the old backstop of the stadium, was named in honor of Pope John Paul II to mark his visit to Montreal in 1984. That was on September 11th, 1984. The venue was renamed Du Maurier Stadium in 1977. It has since upgraded, and again most recently as Stade IGA. STADEIGA. Jarry Park contains baseball, diamond soccer, cricket, bocce courts, and beach volleyball grounds and pitches, the swimming pools and playgrounds, and a dog run, 2 gazebos in Winter Pond to make a skating rink. So I hope you enjoyed my little recap or review on the of the Jarry Park Stadium in Montreal. Yeah, Jarry Park, location Montreal City, Montreal. The capacity of the stadium is 3,000 from 1960 to 1969. 1969 to present, 28,456. The field size is, left field is 340 feet, left center 368, center field 420, right center 368, right field 420, backstop is 60 feet, and it's grass, and it opened in August of 1960, and it closed for the Expos in September 26, 1976. And of course, the Montreal Expos played there from 1969 to 1976. And the Inter-Montreal Football Club played there in 1983. So please like and subscribe. We got notices on the wall for you to do that. And yeah, we're going to do other videos. This is getting exciting. I like this position here in the kitchen to do reports. I might even do some of the Canucks recaps for here, just based on the background, or we can change it around. So if there's any other topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know. And it's April 4th today, 2023. Thank you so much for watching.